I see you shiver with anticipation.
But it's not my place to judge why people like a weird thing. I never do that.
Then what are you for?
Treachery to intellectual integrity.
Drooling, blithering idiots.
Absolute moral chaos.
What the is wrong with you? What the What I'm saying is the planet's on fucking fire.
Patient.
Life is chaos of nothing.
Life is sacred.
Welcome to the freaking Deviant. My
Hey there,
name
everybody.
is what? My name is Spider.
Your name is what?
You had to. I had it down, and you
Yep.
just interrupted me.
Yep.
What's your name again, sir?
I'm Alexander.
And this is the freaking Deviant. We're on episode -18. Welcome, everybody. I am really sorry if you're not watching on Facebook because apparently the Facebook feed is still loading, even with the 15-minute waiting time that we put ahead of the show.
Even more, even extra, because we also started late. And
Yeah,
we've been trying to get it to work. It's just not.
Yeah, so sorry about you guys who are trying to watch us live. We're still live on Twitch and YouTube, but something about Facebook is not working with us today. However, if you're listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for keeping up with us. I know it's a little chaotic over here. We don't have a very good system.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for listening. Little down on the viewers, on the listeners.
Yeah, we lost like 50, 60 viewers this week, so, sorry. Oh, listeners, not viewers.
Yeah, listeners, not viewers.
But, sorry if we disappointed you by not being political.
Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm not sorry.
Nah, it doesn't depress me. Does it depress you?
No, it doesn't depress me.
Okay,
at
we're
all.
good. Cool. So we got our spirits are up. This is supposed to be fun, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I should have brought a drink. I'm tired. I'm a little sleepy.
What I was gonna say is, wait, we have listeners?
Yeah, sometimes it's fascinating,
Oh, wow.
but some people actually do take some time, it's about an hour and 20 minutes out of their day to listen to two idiots ramble around.
Yeah. Well, if you guys are still listening to us, thank you guys very much.
When honestly, the numbers only imply that they downloaded it, not necessarily that they listened to the whole thing. So it is very possible all those 500 and something people a week that download this show, download it, hear about 2 minutes of it, and go, fuck this, and delete it again.
Oh, that's
Because
fine.
we don't get delete reports. I have no idea who keeps the show
we
and who
should
doesn't.
find a way to get the delete reports. I just want to see that
That
number
seems
to jump up
invasive.
to like the 20,000. Just be like, how many people delete our podcast? Like 20 grand delete our podcast.
It's not possible for more people to delete it than download it.
No, but they're all like saving up. So like first week it's like 500, second week it's like 500, and then like everyone deletes it.
Well, I mean, it is a bit of waste of space when you keep your podcast. I usually any
that's
podcast
fair.
I listen to, I delete everything but the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's just it's a waste of space. It's kind of a big chunk of space to just keep on your devices.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening. Sorry, this is the freaking Deviant podcast about the deviant behavior, any kind of behavior, any kind of a mentality that might label you a freak or a deviant by regular society. This is your home. welcome. If you guys want to participate, join the conversation. We are on Twitch, YouTube, and on my personal Facebook, but that's obviously limited apparently because my Facebook is not working today. But you can find us at freakingdeviant.com, and if you would like to send us a subject, some kind of thing to talk about without necessarily participating on the live show, you can send us an email at freakingdeviant@gmail.com. So yeah, thank you very much. And so let's get started here. We got any weird subjects? I have 2 particular things represented by those 2 figurines on the. We have a Rick Sanchez and a I forgot his name. Archer figurine on the table, and I'll get to them at some point, but they represent 2 particularly deviant behaviors that I am very familiar with. So, but you had a deeper one, a deep dive today.
Well, I don't know about. I think we should do yours first before I ramble on about mine.
All right. Well, which is funny. I don't actually watch Archer, but I do know that he's like the alcoholic.
Wow, you haven't seen Archer, dude? It's good.
I've seen like 2 episodes.
It's good.
So
I
it's definitely decent comedy. I like it. It's very inappropriate shit, and it's pretty good. Which is it totally goes right down to this kind of show, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the podcast. But so yeah, drinking and doing drugs. I've actually never done drugs. Fascinatingly enough, like I know I'm a weirdo, and I dress like. Why I don't dress like I am a raver. I actually go to raves and party a lot. I don't think I've never tried drugs.
You dress like you're on drugs.
Yeah, I've been asked for weed a lot.
Yeah, lots of weed.
People just see me like that guy's a dealer. I'm like, nah, not really. I actually never even smoked a cigarette. I have this weird thing about inhaling smoke, so even vaping is just not my thing. And my girlfriend likes hookah, and I had never even tried that shit either. So I didn't start drinking until I was 24, 25-ish. When was it was the December, what was the December 12, December 20 something, that was the end of the world? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They were like advertising that the rapture is gonna happen. I'm like, fuck it, let's get drunk. That was the first time I ever drank, and I got drunk on really crappy alcohol. I think it was like Smirnoff and vodka.
Smirnoff is vodka.
Oh, in shots of vodka and like,
Shots of vodka and Smirnoff.
sipping on Smirnoff. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's what I was that's what I was doing when the world's supposed to end. Actually, the world wasn't ending. The way we were celebrating it is if the rapture happens, all the Christians are gone, which will make the world a much better place.
I mean, it'll make it definitely a more interesting place.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about like a radio station that is like a bunch of Christians disappear, and all of a sudden, all the scientific research started getting better.
Yeah.
And like people stopped lying about things, and like a bunch of stuff, a bunch of good shit started happening. I thought that was fascinating. But yeah, so I've been drinking for a very short period of time compared to other people my age. That usually, it's weird. Did you start drinking before you were legal to drink?
Oh yes.
I had a feeling. Most people do, which is fun. It's fucking weird. I had a cousin back in Mexico that was drinking beer like at 8 years old, and I thought that was like, now I look back at it, I'm like, how was that allowed? I don't even know if there's a drinking age in Mexico, honestly. I actually have no idea.
No idea. And maybe it's like Germany, where it's just one of those things where it's like, there's no real drinking age. There's a drinking age for like hard liquor, but like beer is basically whenever you feel like it.
Interesting, because I remember being sent by my grandma.
I think it's like 16 is for beer, and then I think it's 18
in
for
Germany?
hard. Yeah,
Interesting.
18 for hard alcohol. I'm not sure though.
I actually remember being sent to the corner store by my grandma to get like either beer or cigarettes, and they would sell you like single cigarettes. For like a couple of pesos, they will send you a single cigarette, and my grandma would just send me to get one. Which, now I think about it, what a weird business practice, wouldn't it? Like for an actual store to sell you a single cigarette, because they could have made it.
I mean, yeah.
You have no idea where it came from. Like, it could have been from the package, or they just made some in the back and made them wrong, and there's some some weird shit in there.
I mean,
There's cat feces in it. You don't know. But I remember like being sent to the store to buy, and I was a kid, and I'm buying alcohol
and cigarettes.
and cigarettes, so I could have just taken them for myself. I had like they don't know. The store had no idea, but it was very interesting how like I somehow managed to stay away from all that shit. I think it was the whole experience of were you a Boy Scout when you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was Boy Scouts.
Do you remember like building those massive fires, very Burning Man?
Oh yeah. The huge bonfires. Yeah, that was good stuff.
So I used to do that shit, and I remember, depending on where the wind was, because you're surrounded in a perfect circle, holding hands and singing songs. Eventually, the wind will turn to you, and you get all the smoke, and it hurts, but you can't like leave, right? You can't walk away from the circle either, so you have to just kind of endure the smoke in your face. And I remember that hurting like a motherfucker, and from that point, I'm like, I just analyze it that way. Like, why would I do that on purpose? For what benefit? It's just, I don't know.
I smoke a lot of meats, so
you like smoke.
So here's the thing: when you have wood smoke, and you like open up a smoking chamber, the wood smoke comes out of it, and the first time you ever smoke, you don't realize how much smoke is inside your chamber. And you get a lungful, and it burns. It burns a
Burns
lot.
your lungs.
It hurts, and you're like coughing for like 20 minutes, and your eyes you can't even open your eyes. It hurts too much.
That's interesting.
So like
But
I don't.
at least you get some meat after that.
I mean, yeah, I get some meat after that. I get me
I don't.
nice thick meat. I did pulled pork recently. It
I
turned out
love
really
that
well.
silence. Very subtle. Are you thirsty?
No, I have a drink.
But you haven't had some meat in a while. I meant thirsty.
Yeah, I have a drink.
Oh, all right. Let's go with that. Car mechanics, everybody. But yeah, so that's one of those things to me that like I started drinking once. It's not that I was old enough as much as I know that I'm not gonna fuck myself up if I start drinking that late. Like, you know what I mean? I also started driving at 24, by the way. A lot of things happened when I was 24.
I started driving
I
at
wasn't
like
driving yet.
16, 17.
Damn. Most people do, right? That's common.
It's
I
common.
think even in Mexico, people start driving pretty young.
Yeah, I started driving really early because I would go driving with my sister a lot, and I really wanted to kind of do that, like go out and party,
Weird
drive.
tangent. I just noticed Rick's bald spot is actually on the figurine.
That's
He
hilarious.
has a bald spot on the back. I'm such a weird. Like I got a weird train of thought right now. So it's a little strange, but yeah. So it's one of those things. People consider that deviant behavior, drinking. Now it's becoming more and more common, I think. But what is actually happening? What do you know about this? When you drink alcohol, I've always noticed that no alcohol tastes good. Unless you're a drinker and you've drank it before, and now you're associating the taste of that drink.
No, I've
the
actually
memories.
had some alcohol that has enhanced the flavor of drinks.
Okay.
I've had a couple drinks where
The schnapps that we drank is actually very tasty.
it is pretty
But
tasty.
It still has a kick to it that if you're not a drinker,
Yeah, well, no. How about this? It's more like
it's an interesting thing.
I would view alcohol more as like a spice.
Okay.
It is added to things. Pepper itself does not taste good. You don't just eat raw pepper. Unless you do eat raw pepper, in which case, welcome to the freaking Deviant podcast.
Hey, you fucking deviants. we haven't talked about that. At some point, we should have the sauces that we have because
yeah.
we're also like hot sauce connoisseurs, I guess, and we enjoy the capsaicin burn.
I try not to be a connoisseur of anything.
I'm more of an
I like
extremist.
the taste.
What is there a negative connotation to connoisseur?
I don't know. I just always thought it was like a hoity-toity, like stick up your ass type.
Oh, I mean, what's wrong with sticks up your ass? I don't. Are you being?
Because I don't want
Are you
people to
judging
just
people?
assume that I have a stick up my ass. I want them to know I have a stick up my ass.
With evidence from Pornhub.
Yeah.
But that's actually the reason we were doing that thing with we have gummy bears too that we at some
They're
point
over there.
Yeah, at some point we got to do a party and just do a video, not for the podcast because you guys didn't raise enough money. Shame. I'm just being a dick. But I mean, we didn't have to do it, and you didn't have to stick it up your butt, which is high five for that, man. Because I was not looking forward to the medical, like to call 911 and have. What the fuck?
I was looking forward to it.
But we like capsaicin stuff. We actually do collect hot sauces, and we have that Pepper X stuff that is extremely difficult to. It's impossible to find currently.
It's a very delicious
It's
delicious
a very good
sauce.
sauce.
It's very good sauce.
And we've
Not
eaten
nearly
very little of it.
Honestly, I think the scorpion sauce is actually harsher. Like its burn lasts for way longer.
Yeah, and that's the one I
Then-
have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
way
the
longer
Trinidad
than the
scorpion.
Pepper X. The Pepper X has a very high burn. Like it burns really hot really fast and then it leaves you.
Yeah.
But it's very tasty pepper. Very
It's
tasty.
very good. And that's for those of you who are not particularly follow spices and stuff. The Carolina Reaper was one of the hottest peppers. Well, it was the hottest pepper in the world for something like 5-7 years, something like that. I believe it's 2017. Somebody bred a hotter pepper. So in the level of capsaicin, there's something called the Scoville system, which the Carolina Reaper was 1.56 ish million Scovilles. And that actually that was the hottest pepper in the world for something around 6-7 years. In 2017, somebody bred a hotter pepper, and I believe it was called Dragon's Breath, the Dragon's Breath
No
pepper.
idea.
It didn't even last a year before the guy who invented the Carolina Reaper, the guy who bred that, just pulled out the Pepper X. He just had it. There's no way that in a couple of months he just made a hotter pepper because it takes a long time to breed peppers. And so I actually, my girlfriend started doing some research. Apparently what they do is just pollinize them. Like, so they put a bag over a particular pepper to get the pollen, and then put that bag over another one so it breeds with that pepper that you... It's that simple. I mean, it's like locking up two dogs in a cage to make them fuck. What, too deviant for you? My bad.
No, I'm already this far in. We're what, 18 episodes in?
We're balls deep now.
Yeah, we're balls deep
There's
in
no
this
going
bitch.
back. But yeah, so the guy, I forgot his fucking name. That dude's a lunatic. He eats Carolina Reapers like candy. I've seen videos of the dude. Ed Curry, I think is his name. And so that dude, the moment the Dragon Breath came out, and that pepper was 1.9 million Scovilles, which is absurd too. Like from 1.5, 1.6 to 1.9 is a big jump on the Scovilles. And this dude just pulled out something called Pepper X, and the reason it's called Pepper X is because he just had it. Like there was he hadn't named it yet. He just had an extra pepper that he knew was hotter, and is currently the record holder again. It takes like a year to get through the whole process and stuff, but that other pepper didn't even make it 6 months as the record holder because Ed Curry just had Pepper X lying around. That one's 2.2 million Scovilles by itself, the pepper itself. Now that we get the sauce, and I think that one's like 2.1-ish.
Yeah.
It goes down with, because they put like a mustard base and stuff. But that was fucking fascinating. That dude is insane. If you look him up, some of his... This is very deviant, by the way. That dude is legitimately insane. He says he heard angels... So he was like a drug addict, an alcoholic, referring to, like, this is our subject today. He was a drug addict, alcoholic that like used to party a lot, and he said in one dream he heard angels tell him to quit. So he cold turkey quit alcohol and drugs, and the angel told him to go to a particular place in North Carolina, and he just moved there and opened a farm where he started breeding peppers. That's the business. Like, that's his life's work now. He's doing that ever since. So he's
doing God's work.
He's doing God. Isn't that like, somebody might think that's literally what he's doing, because he's making living things, because it's plants. He's literally fucking with life. And he's doing this weird. He's making people see God with those peppers, because those peppers are extreme.
Hey, you're gonna wish you're seeing God.
The name of his company is Pucker Butt. For the record.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? That's the company he made. Is Pucker Butt. So you guys can look it up and find some of his hot peppers and hot sauces that he sells. But yeah, Pepper X is something that he just kind of had lying around. And there's a show that we watch called The Hot Ones, where they it's called First We Feast or something like that. But
yeah,
it's where they get celebrities to eat hot wings. And the last sauce, I think the first, middle, and last now are by them. And they called Ed Curry to make that last one. It's called The Last Dab. And at the time is when he had just popped out that Pepper X, and they just said, well, let's make a sauce with that and make that the one part of the show. So they associated the show with the Pucker Butt company. And because he hadn't named it yet, and they put on the bottle Pepper X, it just stuck, and they can't rename it now.
So I mean, it's a good name, honestly.
Yeah, it stuck. Just like now it's Pepper X, and that's actually what the record says now, Pepper X, which is just weird because it's it's kind of like an experiment. It wasn't what is it, Lilo and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch.
Stitch had a number, like he was an experiment number, blah 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 blah, and that was his thing. That's what that pepper was. And then somebody names it, and it becomes that name. But we didn't get around to naming it. It was just Pepper X, which leads you to believe that there is a Pepper Z and Y. Like he just moved on. Like he's not done. That dude probably has another pepper. So I believe he was daring someone to make a hotter pepper than the Carolina Reaper, so he can drop Pepper X. And he probably had if somebody had to do something hotter than the Pepper X, he had another one and another one. That dude's not done. So it's very likely that if in the next few years, I just love that that's an unexplored frontier for I guess science.
Culinary.
Yeah, that's just we haven't seen the last of the hot peppers. That we're not done there. There's still hotter peppers being bred, every other year. So it does take a while. It's just fascinating that we have a bottle of the hot sauce that's very unique, because those peppers, he's the only imbecile breeding those peppers, and they're only on season a little bit of the year. So they make something like 150 bottles and sell them out for like $30.
Yeah, it was
cheap as shit. Like, they're not trying to make a profit.
The resells are insane.
Yes, they can go for hundreds on eBay if you find them. Right now, I looked up the other day, I couldn't find a single one.
Yeah,
I found the other Last Dab, the Scorpion and the Carolina Reaper Last Dab, but not the Pepper X.
Because everyone's making those, but
and then there's the double Pepper X. That's also really
the one that I have.
Hard to find. Yes, which also he bred the Pepper X with the chocolate pepper, which is a common one, kind of mixes the flavor, and that's the double what was it, double X,
Yeah.
last dab double X, something like that. So that's but that's a weird product invented by a dude that used to be a drug addict and alcoholic. It's weird how how life goes, right? Where I just some passionate weird, and then some strange dream just takes you to a very strange fucking place. But yeah, so that's just some kind of this is something that we both are sort of interested in. We have never eaten peppers, right?
I've eaten peppers.
Like Carolina Reapers, or like just
The hottest
I've
I've ever
eaten
done.
jalapenos and shit, but-
The hottest I've ever gone was a habanero.
habanero. Yeah, my mom used to eat those.
They're very good.
That's what my mom
Burn
said.
your face, but they're very good.
Yeah, they're. I mean, those used to be the hottest for a long time. At least in Mexico, they're common. Well, not. They're very hot, but they're easy to find.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why that's what very common sauce ingredient is habaneros. Yeah.
Habaneros are great. They are probably like my go-to pepper of choice if I need to get a hot sauce, I go for that.
So now that
Very good with chocolate.
are you serious?
Yes.
So you like dip them like strawberries and
Well, yeah, I can either dip them or what I usually do is I have like a
them in a
chocolate
s'more?
bar. Oh, dude, that would be
in
great.
the middle of a s'more?
But like they taste really good with chocolate.
That's interesting. Is that because the chocolate pepper doesn't taste
No,
like
it doesn't
chocolate.
taste
That's
like
just
chocolate at all.
that's
It's
because
just the color. The color is like
Yeah,
milk
it's a little
chocolate.
brown. Yeah. But I never thought about mixing hot peppers. There is a game. We should probably play one of those.
Yeah,
drinking
bite the
games.
bullet.
Bite the bullet. That's like a bunch of bullets, and you're basically playing Russian roulette, and one of them has a fucking hot pepper in it, which is like a chili pepper. It's not even.
Yeah, it's not even that bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, but it will ruin the taste of chocolate when you're trying to eat just chocolate. You know, somebody puts a pepper in the middle of your chocolate. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
there's
a
the thing is that you
pleasant
need to
experience.
balance out the spice with the chocolate.
So you have to have
'cause-
the perfect balance of that.
Otherwise, you will ruin your chocolate because it's just too hot,
Interesting.
and you can't taste the chocolate. All you taste is the capsaicin.
Gotcha. Interesting. I'm gonna double check my.
Which is why I like the actual peppers in there instead of like an extract or something, or like a sauce with my chocolate, because you can correctly proportion the actual pepper taste with the chocolate and then measure the spice so that you don't get too much at a time.
Interesting. I do believe we should at some point do some experiments with like let's buy some Carolina Reaper peppers, and do them. What is it called?
Insert the mainly.
No.
I'm sorry, I thought we were
First things first. Have you made a Pornhub account yet? We gotta put this fucking podcast on there.
I have made the account and I'm currently working on some stuff.
All right.
I found
And-
some weirder stuff on Pornhub that I'm saving for.
Oh,
our first
so we're gonna
episode.
do some reactions
So
here.
we're gonna have some reactions
That's
coming up here.
awesome.
It's gonna be great.
I'm excited. We can do that today if you want to, because we're definitely, again, with the Facebook not working, we don't have a whole lot of comments on the screen, so you know the conversation is going to be very one-sided. So you know, sorry
That's
for
fine.
you guys listeners that
It'll be like
are used to the-
week 1 and week 2 again.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just talking for the first time we talked for hours, and I had to split it into 2 episodes because we didn't have a limit. We didn't know how long we could do this for.
Yeah, we could do it. And,
And
then,
honestly, an hour and 20 minutes is a good amount of time for us to get burnt out, and the conversation gets a little lazy. But but yeah, I think we should do that experiment at some point. Like get some peppers and do Miracle Berry is what I meant.
oh yeah, the miracle berries.
We never tried hot
Yeah, that
peppers
kind of
with
goes
it.
into like taste play and stuff. Bring it
Taste
in-
play, please.
Yeah.
Please say more.
Yeah. So
What is taste play?
So,
That's
so
a thing?
yeah, so there are certain things that can actually alter the way your taste buds feel, and this has actually been around for a little bit while because miracle berries have been around for a little while.
It's a real berry that makes
It's a real berry that they make into a pill, and it alters the tastes and flavors of things. So it's a form of sensation play where you basically coat someone's tongue in one of these chemicals, and miracle berry is not the only chemical, actually. There are other chemicals that can change tastes into other things.
Do you remember?
And then you have basically eat weird foods like lemons
we
or
did take shots of like straight up lemon juice, and it
Straight up
tasted
lemon
like
juice.
lemonade. It was amazing. That's such a weird like experience.
but your stomach feels it. Your
Oh,
stomach
yeah.
feels it. You're like it's
A lot of
like
heartburn after that.
oh no.
It reminds me of there's an episode of The Simpsons where he coats his tongue with like wax, which somebody tried that on the hot ones. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Your tongue continuously rehydrates, so it's gonna dissolve the wax quickly, and you're gonna taste it. But he like completely coated his tongue and just ate like some weird pepper that made him hallucinate, which is another misconception. It's fascinating how many things get this weird rap. I was talking to speaking of alcohol, absinthe.
There's a lot of misconceptions about absinthe.
Yeah, so every time this actually might also connect to your what do you call it? Your hesitation to be a connoisseur, because there are some people that claim to be connoisseurs of liquor, and then you bring absinthe, and it's like, whoa, absinthe is not real absinthe because this stuff is illegal and blah blah blah. And for those of you, it takes a simple Google search. You go on Wikipedia. So the ingredient that you make absinthe with is called wormwood, and that stuff was illegal for a long time for the same reason weed is illegal here. People just made shit up. They said that wormwood would make you hallucinate, so they made it illegal. It doesn't make you hallucinate, but absinthe is a very strong alcoholic drink, so it'll get you fucked up very quickly.
Very strong.
And people that are not careful will have some weird experiences. That's what happens with alcohol. There's always some irresponsible asshole that fucks it up for the rest of us.
I mean, to be fair, there are movies like Eurotrip where like they take absinthe and then
there's a ferry
and stuff, and
makes
it's like,
out with his sister. That was a whole thing.
Yeah,
so
that's not real.
But yeah, that does affect society the way a particular movie might portray a thing. Fucking Cheech and Chong. And again, the one of the reasons they made weed illegal was the whole, it makes Mexicans into rapists. That was a legitimate article in the news that made people fear weed because it makes Mexicans into rapists. It's not a thing. Everyone knows it's not a thing. There's research on this. That weed doesn't do it. It doesn't make people violent. It doesn't even change your state of mind as much. Like, there's nothing. And then fucking Cheech and Chong comes out and they smoke weed and they do crimes, right? And they fuck with the police and they make them look bad. It's a thing that now that has a reputation of, if you smoke weed, you're anti-cop. And that's a current state of mind of a lot of people that just grew up on Cheech and Chong. And Harold and Kumar. And what is it? Jane, Silent Bob. What other pairs are there?
Oh, there's all sorts of pairs that smoke weed. Like,
there's a lot of pot movies over
it's a little weird that we don't smoke weed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both like the pothead idiots talking shit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, one of these days we should change the intro to Wayne's World, party time, excellence. No.
I mean, I can dig it. Dude.
We have a show just like just nonsense. Who the hell cares if they're listening?
That's fair.
It's exactly
That's
what
fair.
we're doing. We're so. I didn't even think about that. That we're so Wayne's World like, which is another pothead.
It's
duo,
pothead duo. Yeah.
Which they never showed them smoking pot, but it's obvious that that's what they are. It's so interesting to see those generational differences. I forgot. God damn it! I had a point to make and I lost it completely. My train of thought is everywhere today.
Crash burned. Many people died.
Yeah.
It's like a train wreck. I just can't stop watching.
Well, I mean, so please don't stop listening. Don't stop listening. I'm sorry. my mind is. What is it? Oh my God, was it Zach Galifianakis? I don't know what movie, but it's like my mind works in mysterious ways, and I'm like, did you just compare yourself to God? Oh God. But let's see, drugs. So I've never done drugs, which I believe is the point I was trying to make. I don't know. Have you done what? You've done drugs in the past?
I have done drugs in the past, yeah.
What kind? And what was your experience?
I'm about to
you want to describe them?
Yeah. Okay, so
I mean, your parents are not watching this, I hope, because
I mean, they're about to listen. They're about to hear. If you are listening, Mom and Dad, now is the time to turn off the podcast.
Please.
Please turn off.
Not a few episodes ago when he almost died falling down the stairs.
Yeah, falling
or the
down
car
the
mechanics,
stairs.
or the
car mechanics,
or the atheist part.
Yeah, all that shit.
Oh
hey,
God, this is a monument to your relationship with your parents.
I know, right? Well, it's like a weird, like, black obelisk to Nebog-Shoggoth or something like that.
Oh, the point. I'm sorry, it came back.
Oh God.
So we'd had a bad reputation of the whole Mexicans rape people, which is also fed by racism, which apparently works, as I heard on TV somewhere. Wormwood was also known like that in Europe. that people would hallucinate and commit crimes, which is not true. So they made wormwood illegal just with the baseless claim that it makes people hallucinate, which it doesn't. If you've ever had absinthe, it doesn't make you hallucinate, but it will get you drunk.
Unless they put something in the absinthe.
Oh, yes. Which, yeah, roofies and shit. And, if they put some stuff on your drink, you might hallucinate.
Yeah, and you will not taste it. With that absinthe, you will not taste
it's so
anything they put in that drink.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the things that they would put something like hallucinogenic, if at all, because there's no way you could taste it.
That's true. Wow, I
It
didn't
is
think of
so
that.
strong.
So it might have been a common drink to get spiked that would become a weird experience and somebody
maybe.
blame it on the absinthe.
It's definitely a hypothesis.
Interesting. But yeah, so the reason absinthe is particularly strong is because it could, that wormwood thing, it can get pretty pure and you can make alcohol with like 180 proof, which is it's harder than, what is the Texas thing, the water looking stuff?
Everclear?
No. Well, Everclear is about 180 also.
Yeah, Everclear is about
I'm thinking
180
of
as
the
well.
redneck drink to do.
Moonshine?
Moonshine, that's what. Isn't that what Mountain Dew is? That's what that meant. And then they turned it into a soda.
Then they turn it into a soda.
But yeah, so moonshine is also tends to be pretty damn strong, but that one doesn't taste anywhere near good.
Moonshine I think maxes out at like 160 if they really distill it.
and you can like, I think you can put it on a vehicle and run with it.
Yeah.
Instead of gasoline. But anyway, so basically wormwood was illegal, and you hear, like, every time I say absinthe, there's always some dude that, well, there's no real absinthe anymore because it's illegal. Like, dude, they legalized wormwood in 2007. It's been legal for 12 fucking years. You can buy absinthe in any liquor store right now. Now, the good absinthe is from overseas.
Good shit is
Because we found that little green bottle that was like $60 a bottle, but it's about the size of a bottle of water. So it's not even a fifth. What we know as a regular bottle of like roughly a liter of alcohol, it's not that. we're so, like, in America we have like handles of liquor for like $20. And I'm pretty sure that's not a thing in other places.
No, it's definitely
that much amount of liquor.
Yeah, it's definitely
Maybe wine because it takes a lot.
wine. Yeah,
a party.
I could see wine. I could see wine being a little bit cheaper actually over in certain places like France or something. But I don't know. If you live in France, tell me the prices.
Let us know.
Let us know.
What are the prices in euros of like, and how big a bottle can you find easily without going to a place like Costco? I wonder if they have Costco in other countries. Well, not Costco, but like other
Different type of convenience store. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that seems like a very American thing to do.
Yeah. Like a discount store where you only buy in bulk.
Buy in bulk, please. Yeah.
Yeah, because for those people, because we actually do have listeners who are overseas, what Costco is basically a place where you get discounts based on buying in bulk. So if you need a whole lot of Cheez-Its,
Yes.
you can
sell you
buy
massive boxes of that
you
shit.
can buy like a crate of Cheez-Its.
Yeah. A straight up, and there's a massive discount for it.
And there's a huge
doing that
discount
kind of
for
thing.
it.
I bought once it was a 13 pack of playing cards, which I thought was a weird number. But it was a 12 pack plus a deck. Because they sell 12 packs. You can find those some places, but it's not easy to find a 12 pack of playing cards. You find a 12 pack put into a display at a Walmart, right? And you buy one or two out of that, and then sometimes they're like a 2-pack. But I went to like it wasn't there's so much demand for this. There's actually 2 big companies in this country, Costco and the Walmart one was
Sam's Club.
Sam's Club is the other one.
Sam's Club is the other one.
They'll sell you bulk shit, and I found it looked like a deck of cards about that big, which is about a foot tall.
Yeah,
for
about
those
a foot.
who are
About a
not
foot.
watching.
Yeah.
It was about a foot tall deck of cards box, and you open it up, and there's just it was a 12-pack and then a loose deck. It was 13 decks of cards, and I paid something like $15 for it, which is a hell of a good deal. Because I'm a magician. Playing cards are expensive as gas. They keep going up every year. It's fucking annoying. I used to buy decks of cards. When I started doing Magic, decks of cards were like $1.50 a deck at like at HEB. Right now, they're like $3.50, $3.75.
Oh yeah,
it's about the price of gas.
Yeah,
it's about the price of a gallon of gas. It's fucking annoying. And then I started buying like specialty cards, and it was like $10, $12 a deck.
Oh yeah, well they're specialty cards.
Yeah,
So.
they're for magicians. They look pretty. But I remember going to I think it was a Sam's Club where they had a straight up barrel of Jack Daniels.
Oh my
It was
god.
$11,000, and it's the barrel's right there. You could like move it, and you hear the liquor in there. I'm like, who buys that much alcohol?
Party people.
I presume, yeah. And then for one, you have to know how to like do the hole and stick the pivot. Right? You have
Yeah.
to put a nozzle in it, because you
mean,
can't
it'll-
just take the top of the barrel and just stick a cup in there.
I mean, why not? That's a party.
I imagine that would be a waste. You need a way to keep it sealed in there, right?
I mean, nothing's gonna live in it.
Every bug is gonna.
If bug gets in there, it's dead.
By the way, I killed 3 wasp nests this morning. I don't know if you remember, there was wasp nests outside my house.
Yeah.
And I just kind of looked it up on YouTube, see who knows an easy way to getting rid of them. And apparently there's an extremely easy way. A cup of water.
Yeah.
I started out filling a cup of water. They said a little soap kills them faster. And I just kind of held it there, and they just drowned in like 5 seconds. I was like, that's the fucking danger?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did that 3 fucking times, and like with ladders and stuff, because some of them were a little high, but fascinatingly easy. At some point, I just grabbed like a piece of cardboard and just kind of like to speed up the process. Just boom, and then just kind of flipped it and left it there. I did the little trick where you let it go. I was holding the place. I'm an idiot. I have fun with the things I kill. Is that too soon to say? I hope nobody catches that out of context.
Yeah, that's gonna. I'm going to take that out of context.
Cool. Anyway, how you doing? All right, moving on. Sorry, the point I was making was that wormwood and weed were illegal because of weird reasons, and now absinthe is legal anywhere.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
legal.
find real absinthe.
We've had good absinthe.
Yeah, we had a Pernod. I think it was called Pernod, and it's an average. It's like 40% alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want that $60 bottle from Europe. But I think when they're charging out the ass for shipping.
Yeah, it was the shipping that was getting us. It was just ridiculous shipping.
Yeah. I'm hoping. Can we make an Europe trip? Is that expensive?
A trip to Europe.
Can we bring alcohol if we go, or we have to smuggle it?
I'm pretty
like
sure.
criminal.
I don't know if we can bring it. I don't know if
can
we
you
can bring
keister it?
from. Keister it? I mean, I can keister anything.
Because that little bottle, like, it's a little skull about that big.
Yeah, I can stick a skull
It might
in my
even be
ass.
pleasurable. You
Yeah,
don't even know.
I mean, it might fall out. If it's only the size of the water bottle, it might fall out. Swallow like a good boy.
God damn it.
You know better than to drink when I'm making jokes.
I didn't know you were making a joke. I didn't feel good at all. That was a gaseous drink. Did I say that right? Gaseous. It was bubbly. It was just bubbling in my throat. Yeah, I said that out loud. A masturbator. Oh, for bait. Okay.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
masturbator. Masturbator. Anyway, you brought a tool, put it on the table. You want to
Yeah, I
describe it?
did. So
I don't
that
think
is,
I've ever seen this one, actually.
yeah, that is a riding crop. That is an actual riding crop.
It's for horses?
Yeah, that is for horses.
I was under the impression these were much smaller for horses. Like, it's like a little...
For a tiny horse.
Wait, the size of the horse matters?
Yes.
Oh.
That is for a horse.
It had nothing to do with the motion of the ocean. Oh, sorry.
It looks like it's used for a horse. It's significantly bigger than the ones that you would.
Have you used it on a
normally see.
horse?
No, I've never used it on a horse.
Have you ever been on a horse? Mm-hmm. You ever fucked one?
No, I've never fucked a horse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was last episode. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm mixing my subjects.
No, I've never had sex with a horse. I definitely am not into bestiality or any of that.
Bestiality.
Yeah, definitely not. No.
I was trying to define the difference between bestiality and zoophilia.
I don't think there is one.
Bestiality is being turned on by it. Zoophilia is actually fucking animals.
Oh, okay.
I believe that was the distinction that we found, but
Okay.
I could be wrong. I mean, I hadn't necessarily looked into my sources.
If
either.
you're a zoophiliac,
you're weird. You're fucking deviant. Welcome to the show.
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Drop us a
But,
line.
Yeah, freakingdeviant.com or freakingdeviant@gmail.com. At some point, we're just going to change the show name to Freaking Deviant instead of The Freaking the Deviant. I was trying to reference, like, Pinky and the Brain vibes, because almost every time I said the name of the show is The Freaking the Deviant, it's like, well, who's the freaking, who's the deviant? It's like, you clearly don't know what those words mean, if you have to ask. Yeah, somebody legitimately said, so like, well, that's what you said the show is about, right? One is the freak and one is the deviant. And like, you don't know what those words means, do you? They're synonymous. I don't know why.
I don't know why
You had to ask that question.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But yeah, so horse
Yeah, well, that is a riding crop that's typically used for spanking and general hitting or any sort of sensation play. Honestly, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with a riding crop.
Has this been inside anyone?
No, it has not been inside anyone.
Okay. So
It's
not
okay
all
to
kinds
sniff.
of stuff. It's okay
Well,
to sniff.
I've never stuck it up anyone, but you could do that, yeah.
Oh, okay. It seems like leather inside you might not be a pleasant experience. I could be wrong.
That's not the point.
Oh, it's not supposed to be pleasant.
It's not supposed to be pleasant.
In my experience, that's what sex is about, but you have a very different taste.
Yes, I do. I take
I like the
I take pills for it.
craftsmanship, honestly. Like I just
No,
love
it's a
seeing
really
stitching on leather.
well-made. It's a really well-made riding crop, and that's the difference.
Ow! I slapped my hand.
And I'm sure that felt really good to everyone's ears.
He did not hit me.
I'm gonna beat you.
You wouldn't do that without consent.
No.
Anyway,
I'm
so
sure
what,
that was great in the microphone.
well, it sounds like a slap, right?
Yeah, it's
So what do you bring that for today? What do you want to talk
right.
about?
So I'm talking about doming today, domination.
Ah,
That's why I brought that toy. I mean, I could talk more about hitting people, but honestly, domination is the big one. I'm talking about today. So, domination comes in many flavors, but there are flavors. Yes, many
love it.
flavors of domination.
okay.
Some sexual, some non-sexual.
Okay, so I've heard of that for
Right.
sure.
So you don't have to be sexual to be dominant or to provide dominant for, let's say, a partner. Dominance to say a partner. Generally speaking, most of them fall into two camps, right? Generally speaking, you have good doming and bad doming. Bad doming is basically all the don'ts that you do during doming, just don't do them. And we'll get into that here in a moment. And then good doming is everything that you should be doing during doming, right? Anyway, so bad doming is going to be things like abusing your partner. Now, a lot of people are like, well, let's say your partner is a masochist and wants you to hit them. Isn't that abusing your partner? No, that is not abusing your partner.
Well, I think the difference is just like a lot of episodes we talked about consent.
Yeah.
Right? Because what was it? There's a famous book that turned into a movie, Grey something.
50 Shades of Grey?
That.
Yeah, there's a lot of not consent in that book.
Yeah, there's a lot of where like, well, I can stop myself. You make me not like lose control, and they're like, dude, that's assault.
Yeah. The thing is
don't
that,
do that.
doms don't lose control. That's a big difference between a good dom and a bad dom. A good
Yeah.
dom never loses control. He has control of the situation the entire time. If you are a dom who loses control, or if your partner, or if you have a doming partner who loses control, they are a bad dom. You doms should not lose control. It's kind of in the name, right? They are
Yeah.
to command the situation.
Yeah.
If you are out of control, then you are not in command of the situation.
Which makes you not a dom.
Yeah,
You're
which-
someone experimenting.
Yeah, you're experimenting. You're not doing it right.
I've one of the sentences I've used a lot in situations where I hear that there's a dom and a sub scenario is that the dom does not have any more power than he is given by the sub.
Right.
So in most cases where you see that dumb thing, and most people have seen some of the imagery where like the guy puts her on a leash and
Puts
that
her
kind
on a
of
leash,
stuff.
things like that. Maybe puts her in a cage, ties her up, sticks a ball gag in her mouth. You all know what this looks
The
like.
person that is being submitted to all this is usually in charge of that.
Yes.
Like they're giving up control, but they are the ones that want this.
And it is specific control, unless when you, especially if you're first starting off. Let's say you're a sub and you really want to get into the whole sub dom thing, right? You need to know where your lines are, and you need to have hard lines, right? You need to know where the safe words are. You need to be very well educated going into this, and you need to do it with someone that you trust, right? This isn't go to a club, meet a dude, and get dommed for 2 hours. That's not how you do this. It is someone that you know, that you trust, that you trust
so
with doming.
In the kink scene, one night stands are not the appropriate.
No,
Like it's just not a thing.
no,
It
you
has
know
to be
people for a
someone you-
long time.
Yeah, someone you earn trust with that you're willing to do this kind of. Because it's dangerous. It's just dangerous
Yeah.
to give someone power that you don't necessarily trust all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it's weird because we've talked about this before. This very often happens with a photographer or a producer of a particular music
Mm-hmm.
video or some shit like that, where somebody's legitimately in charge of you. That's their job, to be
Mm-hmm.
in charge of you. but they're not supposed to be in charge of you in any way that you're not willing to be giving them control of.
You're the one who determines what goes on.
Correct. And I guess a lot of people do get pressured by like, well, he is my boss. He's paying me for this gig. And that comes right down to the whole Me Too movement, where someone with power tells you to do something, even if you're uncomfortable, you do it. I guess that sort of helps to. I feel like this inches very close to victim blaming. That people should know what they're not. Like not to do that.
Well,
thing.
yeah, they should, but it's not how it is. They should know, but it is not required because the people in the dominant position should know about their positioning.
For sure, they should know not to be requesting things that make people uncomfortable. It's
Yeah,
that simple.
it is definitely their fault. But there is a sort of, the person who is in that position, especially when it comes to more doming, less so when it comes to work and stuff, because that can get a little weird and a little muddy. Not necessarily when it comes to like sexual things or anything like that, but generally uncouth things. Maybe like you don't like being on ladders and your boss is making you be on a ladder, things like that, because you need to put up Christmas lights or something. You work in a convenience store or something.
And like you don't get paid to risk your life, kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't get paid to risk your life.
Well, especially there's people that are like, I just came up with an example. Like I just got on a ladder to kill some wasp nests. Imagine if someone was my employee and I was making them do it and they're allergic. That's like nearly lawsuit material, right?
That is nearly lawsuit, but I would actually go more of like, let's say they're a Buddhist and don't like to kill things,
Interesting.
or I forget the
wow,
actual
that's an
sect
interesting
it is.
perspective.
Yeah.
There was something I remember Penn Jillette talking about people that misrepresent themselves. This goes to that case of the Christian cake maker that refused to make cakes for gay people. And it's like, well, that's a bad business. If you're self-portraying yourself as a cake maker and you refuse to make a cake, you're a bad cake maker.
Yeah.
And he said something like Penn Jillette was talking about how when they had the show Bullshit, they very often hired nude models because they almost every episode had tits or dick.
Oh yeah.
On purpose. That was by design. They wanted to have sexual parts of the show even if they're not relevant to sexuality. And it's like we put out, hiring flyers for nude actors that were going to be nude in the scene, and some would show up and say they're not comfortable with being naked on camera, and it's like, then I don't want to see your tits anyway. His perspective was, don't come to a job that says you're supposed to be nude, or like a stripper that goes up there and says, I'm not comfortable taking this off or that off, and I'm like, then don't categorize yourself as a stripper then, because you're not doing the thing you're saying you're supposed to do.
That's fair.
That
I
make
can
sense?
also, yeah. I can also see that, from kind of the extended version where like he obviously just didn't hire that person.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, I mean, he hired someone to be nude, and then they refused to do the thing they're paid to do.
see, that's fucked up.
That's
Yeah,
that's just bad categorization.
That's
So
fucked up.
if I'm someone who makes cakes and someone hires me to make a cake, and then I start getting all iffy about the making of a cake.
At that point, if they've already paid you, you already need to put in that work.
Yeah, you advertise yourself as a cake maker. Someone is willing to pay you for a cake. Do the
Yeah.
fucking cake.
Yeah,
I think
if-
that guy won, didn't he?
Well, the thing is that
It was something weird. You can't force someone to do a job either.
yeah,
Like,
you can't force somebody to do a job. Also, like, if you were paid for the work, right, and you're like, I mean, I already got paid for this work, I might as well do it. Like, you already got paid. Like, they've already made plans around it. But if they haven't paid you yet, right, there's really no force there, right? They haven't paid you yet. You can just be like, no, I don't want to do your work.
I don't want the job. Yeah.
I don't want this job.
There's no law to make you take a job.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Anyway, sorry, that was a complete tangent
That was a
about
complete
domination.
tangent, yeah. I mean, it kind of fits in. It kind of fits in where
with the whole someone of authority telling you to do something you don't want to do.
yeah, you have control over that situation. You as the sub have, and you should beforehand, before you do any sort of domination, write down what is going to be done. Right? Write it down. If you're new, you definitely want to write it down. Write down what is going to be done, not what the limitations are. No. Write down what is going to be done and check it off, and have your dom check it off as it's going through, right? And those are the only things that are going to be done. If afterward you want to do more, after the scene slows down and comes to an end, then you write down more things and continue the scene going on that way.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. I know this. Yeah. Well, we'll get here in a minute.
Yeah, I'll wait. But I think this is an interesting thing to talk about in connection. For one, we're both haunt artists.
Yeah, we both do haunt stuff.
And this, in my opinion, is one of those things that very inches towards the kink rather than the art. Mm-hmm. And I find that very interesting.
So so if you're being a sub, write it down, and then the more you play with this person, the more you can kind of go into, well, I would like this done. You know, you don't necessarily have to write it down. They kind of know where you're going, right? You establish, we talked about safe words before. You can go back to that episode and watch it. You know, establishing your safe words. I always do the lighting system, red, yellow, green, right?
Yeah, that's something we described in the past.
If
you're being dominated in any level, you need to be comfortable with saying no. This is something that
that's something that I do with a lot of my partners. Even if I'm doing something light like rope, like even if it's doing rope, I have them perform an action that denies me in some way, so that they get comfortable saying no to me, so that they can say no to me. Because when you're in like a subby atmosphere and you're like, well, I really don't want to say stop, you know, because either you aren't feeling comfortable or you're feeling vulnerable and you just don't really want to do it. That happens a lot. And when it does happen, it can cause problems because you are being pushed beyond your limitations, and that isn't very good.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you go way too far past there, you're going to end up getting hurt. So your dom, you should be able to say no to whoever your dom is, right? And use your safe words accordingly.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because there are people who actually have a submissive personality, which is not the same as someone who wants to be domed. Mm-hmm. So that's very often there are people that just give up and they go like, what you say, whatever you say. Mm-hmm. And you've met people like that. We're not talking sexually. We're like, I want to go to Taco Bell. You want to go to McDonald's. And they're like, fine, let's do what you want. Like, but you wanted that.
Yeah.
And they just completely give up what they want on the spot. There are people like that, and it's very dangerous to have someone like that being dumb, because you never know that they actually no longer want it. They just won't say it. Mm-hmm. And that is very, very scary. So I think one of the things that I was gonna bring up is so I've talked to a dominatrix, someone who actually makes a living dominating people. And I was asking what kind of people ask for this, like how common is it, like do you get a lot of business kind of thing? And it's like, it's usually a lot of businessmen, older guys, who have so much control over everything, every aspect of their life, that they want to have that little escape. And I think this is something we covered a long time ago. Of kinks are very often an escape to something you've always not done. Mm-hmm. So kind of like we talk about like Catholic girls who were completely restricted from sex, then get crazy sex after that because it's an escape to what they have always done. So very often someone who wants to be domed is someone who is not necessarily submissive in a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Well, there are some girls that are submissive. I shouldn't say girl. There are some people who are
there's definitely more than girls.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some people that will be submissive that somehow get talked into being in a sub situation when they really shouldn't be, because they don't need an escape from already being submissive as a person. Mm-hmm. That's the one, I believe those are the ones that end up in really abusive relationships because they don't know how to not be in it. Mm-hmm. But that's just my opinion. That's just me being judgmental of some relationships I've seen.
Yeah, and if you're doing things, let's say you're a little bit more in the intermediate, right? You've been subbing for a little while. Dip your toes in to the dom thing. You don't have to go all the way in. You don't have to actually dom someone, but go into the sort of psychology about it. Do some research on it. It'll actually help you out a lot. It'll help you out with how you are as a sub. It'll kind of teach you a little bit more of what's going on. And vice versa. If you're a dom, you don't have to go get subbed, because obviously you don't really... Not a lot of doms like being subbed, not a lot of subs like being domed. But it's definitely one of those things...
There's a term for in between, which is a switch.
Switch, right? Someone who does both.
Some people that will that can enjoy both sides of that, which leads me to believe that's not an escape of any sort, right?
Well,
like that, yeah.
So I'm not technically, I'm a dom, right? But I've done sub stuff, right? Because like I said, that's what I did when I kind of hit the intermediate. After I've been doming for a little while, I said, well, let me try this up, right? Sub things. And
You mentioned
and
before
move
you
through.
like the experience of pain.
I do. I like the experience of pain. I do not like the experience of being domed.
So it's
I'm not a
different.
sub.
So you will have a sub like hit you with a belt, so you
Yeah,
feel the pain,
usually-
but
usually-
not dumb over you. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
so one of the things that I do for my sort of doming is I encourage the sub to fight back.
Oh, I see.
So it is fun, you know. Sometimes they don't want to, sometimes they, and that's totally fine.
Yeah,
However,
well, it might trigger some memories of someone who's been through abuse.
exactly.
I can see
It can. There's a lot of discussion that goes in with it. These are, you know, partners that, you know, I've had for a long time, so they know what's going on. This is definitely not one of the first couple of times, but like they'll fight back and stuff, and they'll actually be able to induce pain on me. Which gets a little weird where I have my own safe words and I have my own things, even though I'm in command of the situation. I, of course, reserve the right to end the scene whenever I want to.
Gotcha.
And DOMs also have that power. They have the power to end a scene. If a sub is being too much blank, you know, if the sub is being too demanding and the DOM's like, I'm not having fun, forget this, you know, if, you know, no DOM should fly off the handle. If
Well,
your
yeah.
sub is being particularly bratty and you lose control, that is bad on you.
Yeah.
If you then end the scene, it'll usually throw a much bigger sort of it'll convey a better message. You'll say like, I don't have to play with you, and just leave. And it usually puts the sub in their place really quick when you just leave.
Yeah, because they're ruining situations or ruining a scene for themselves, not just for you. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so DOMs also have that ability. You know, DOMs are allowed to end scenes because they don't like them. It's a thing.
Well, I guess the message would want to put out there is to look for those red flags in regular situations where someone who... No, I don't think there's an easy way to tell, actually. Come think of it. I'm trying to think of, like, how would you suggest you avoid someone who's a bad dumb other than having a bad dumb experience? Like, because at that point it's a little too late.
Well, there's telltale signs, right? So there are signs of someone might be being a bad dom. The first one is doming you without your consent, right? So if
Right.
you're talking to a dom and they're using doming language and you don't really know this guy very well, right? And they're doing
I
things like, I'm buying you a drink, instead of saying, would you like me to buy you a drink?
Oh, shit. Yeah,
Things
yeah.
like that. They have very dominating language. On top of that, they are very dominant. Let's say you have sex with this guy and he's already putting on the dom, right? He's already doing things like you haven't discussed anything and he already wants to choke you. He's already basically pulling your hair. He's going past, like, he's not talking to you. He's not communicating. That means he's a bad dom. Do not go with that. If you talk to this person, right, and that is a little bit on you and definitely a lot on him, right, where you talk to this person, they say, I would like to do these things, and they ask you, that is good dom behavior.
Gotcha.
All right. Again, communication is very important, and the communication part is what's going to separate most good doms from bad doms. Is, are they communicating with you? Are they talking with you? Because especially it's scary when you're going in there as a sub, and you've never been dommed before.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck am I going to expect? I've been in that situation because, like I said, I went from doming to subbing, and it was an interesting experience. I didn't know what to expect, and I had several friends recommend me a dom who was going to be good. And
You consider yourself a switch?
no, I don't like being domed. I've been dommed. I've had the experience.
So it's kind of like you're capable of it, you just don't necessarily
It's
enjoy
capable.
it.
I'm capable of getting there, but it first of all, it takes a long time
Yeah.
for me to get into that situation.
And you wouldn't choose it.
And I wouldn't really choose it compared to what I am. I am definitely a masochist. I would say that I'm at least somewhat sadistic as well, but it's not necessarily. It's more like a fascination within pain, not necessarily.
How do you define sadistic? Is that someone who causes pain, wants to cause pain?
Someone who wants to cause pain. Yes,
Interesting. So
Which-
is that the actual definition or how you use it?
that's how I use it.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't
I'm
think I know
pretty
the
sure
definition
that
either.
is also the definition.
Is it
Someone who-
sadistic? Let's look it up.
Yeah, let's look it up before I talk out my ass.
Yeah. I don't like being wrong on my podcast.
I'm fine with it.
Sadistic definition. Let's see what we got. I'm definitely interested in definitions all the time.
Deriving pleasure from inflicting pain. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's pleasure, not necessarily
Yes,
enjoying
pleasure.
it, but it's actually
Pleasurable. Yes.
fascinating. All right.
I don't
This is
necessarily-
a good time for. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's definitely a thing. I'm not necessarily sadistic. It's not necessarily a pleasure for me. It is definitely a fascination. I am very fascinated with pain, and I usually pull that fascination on myself. And I haven't had many masochists come my way where I can actually explore pain to my fullest. But you know, you win
Interesting.
some, you lose some.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's what is it? Life is a zero-sum game. You win some, you lose some, but you're not gonna get. You don't win.
Yeah, you don't win.
You end up with exactly the same you started with. Nothing.
And there's points like I think on my toe right now I have it kind of fucked up because I was playing.
What do you do?
I stuck a needle in there.
Oh my fucking god! Oh, I should have brought that thing. Well, nobody's fucking watching.
Yeah,
It's
so
fine.
that's masochism. It gets crazy. I'm very fascinated
Damn.
with pain. It's actually like a thing I want to do. I want to explore. I actually want to make a pain skill
Would
that is
you
effective.
do suspension? Is that something you'd be interested in?
I'm too heavy for suspension.
Are you really? Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
I was talking. I had a
You
guy.
actually consulted.
I consulted
You know
a guy.
someone that'd be willing to get interviewed and like talk about suspensions? I really want to know what that's like.
I can talk with him. I don't know if I have his number anymore, but I can definitely try and find out.
For those of you who don't know, I was looking into suspensions are a form of body modification, like piercers
Mm-hmm.
usually. It's usually someone with a background in piercing and tattooing.
I do not have any piercings or tattoos.
I have 1 piercing and 3 tattoos. Yeah.
I mean, I've had my body pierced, but I think
is
it's
funny,
a little bit different.
That's different, yeah. I pierced my tongue. I feel you'd be the kind of person that like pierce the tip of your dick. What is it called? The Prince something?
Yeah, Prince Charles or Prince Charming.
Prince. I don't know. Forgot the name of it.
All I know is that the one that's
Prince
like,
Albert. I think
Prince
it's called.
Albert. Yeah, it's a
It's a dick piercing Prince Charming. This is that Shrek.
Speaking of which, last week's episode.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life. But we should probably react to it one of these days. Just put it on the thing.
Oh man, it's so
But
great.
basically, I pierced my tongue specifically for cunnilingus.
Mm-hmm.
I purposely, like, my goal was not, I think I look cool with a tongue piercing. I don't care what it looks like. It's supposed to be functional. And more importantly, I found that there's these jelly tips you can put on it that wouldn't, like, it's basically a bump on your tongue that is like silicone that you can, give oral sex much better. So that's the reason I got that. Tattoos is basically an artistic thing. It's always something that inspires me. So I don't tattoo random shit. It's got to be something that sort of defines me. So my first tattoo was this on my forearm. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. It's an ace of spades with my personal design of an ace of spades. Second tattoo was an artist that inspired me. Her name is Lindsay Nemu. She was a raver back when I was not a raver. And I saw her and I went to a first rave and I just saw her perform and I was like, I need to be crazier. And I started like doing all the crazy shit of painting my face and dressing up all weird. That's when that started. And then this one was actually a gift. It's a clown with my contact lenses. It's an evil zombie clown. Is that from the movie Clown? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
I think I don't know if it's based on, but it's similar to like a Nickelodeon. What is that TV show? Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think it was called. There's a story where like some kid puts on a Halloween mask and it won't come off. It becomes part of him. So that's what
I've
that
seen
movie's like.
Oh, okay.
Some dad wants to, like, the clown canceled for his son's birthday party and he found a clown suit in the attic or an abandoned house or something, because he's like a house salesperson, so he has a bunch of houses that he goes and just found a clown suit and like, fuck it, I'll dress like a clown for my son's birthday. And he fell asleep with the suit on. The next morning he can't take anything off and the nose became his actual nose. Like, he thought it was like super glued or something, but he like took it off, started bleeding, and it lens to grew back. Kind of like Santa Claus. That happened in the Santa Claus movie.
Like Santa Claus.
But they said they tell a very interesting thing that I really don't know if it's real or not. But they tell this mythology that clowns are originally monsters that would come and eat kids. and they have
Which
to.
is not it at all.
It's not okay. There was some mythical thing that Engine's history. Like he read a book that looked old as fuck, very Bible-like, and like originally clowns were supposed to be monsters, and they became, a fun thing to cosplay, kind of like witches and.
Clowns
stuff like
clowns have always been actually like
fun,
meant for
entertainment
purposes.
That's what I thought, but I didn't look into it, but it was fascinating. And basically, what he said is that the suit he put on was actually the skin of a real clown, of a real mythical creature called like a clown that he turned into, and it was very zombie. At some point, he was wearing these crazy contact lenses. He looks fucking insane, and that's the picture that I have on my arm. But anyway, so speaking of horror, we're talking about this. This is actually a hints into what is it, masochism or sadistic?
This is
behavior?
definitely like both sadistic on the terms of the people inflicting it and masochistic. And honestly, they don't necessarily have to be sadistic, because like you take my particular case where, again, I'm not sadistic. I just like the science behind it. So I do a lot of research into pain and discomfort and things like that. So I can see if somebody was like that, who was there, who does these things. And for people who don't know, what we're talking about is McKamey Manor.
I believe this place, McKamey Manor.
McKamey?
This actually got closed down because I think it's illegal even if they signed a waiver. So it's supposed to be a haunted house, or they claim so. But at some point, again, we have both worked at different haunted houses, and there's an art to scaring people without putting them in harm's way. Yeah. Which is the moral way of doing
I've been punched so many times.
Oh, yeah.
I've never touched a single person.
I had a concussion once and running into a fucking wall in the dark.
Dude, I get kind of mad because like people who like touch people always they never get punched or whatever, and like I don't touch a single person. I don't even breathe on people, and I've been hit so many times.
You have this intimidating persona thing that they fear you more.
I mean, I guess.
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, at the time I was like 350 pounds, and I was like I looked like my arms were
bulky dude
stacked up and stuff. So I mean, maybe now I would get punched less.
But so this is a haunted house where you had to sign a waiver, and I did some research on it. They didn't just open their doors and sold tickets. They again, this sounds very similar to a kink scene, because they will interview the person, and it would be one person per trip. So it wasn't like, ooh, group of 5, not a thing. They would pick a single person or 2 people, or like maybe, I think the biggest group I saw was 3 people. And they signed up, and they were interviewed, and they were reviewed, and they had medical records. And it was like, dude, this sounds so similar. And part of the form that they sign is a consent form to being recorded. Which at this point, I'm like, that's the guy who's doing this is definitely getting something out of this.
Yeah.
So this is one of the promo videos that they posted a long time ago. It says 2013.
Yeah, so they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff here.
Yeah, and Los Angeles Times Entertainment wrote, I like to think I've seen it all. So, again, this is very trailer-like.
Yeah, it's very trailer.
But so the thing about this is that they say that this is a haunted house, that they take it to the extreme. But they legitimately torture people, tie them in a box, threaten their lives for real. Like it's in San Diego. But
to the point where they just don't want to be there anymore, and they're basically like screaming that they want out.
Yeah, and they don't let them out, which is another thing. They sign a form that said that they cannot remove consent, which is another dangerous thing to do.
Which is very dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, they duct tape their faces, force feed them nasty shit, tight shit to their faces, have a toilet explode on their faces. I think they were held in a. She was tied up. The dude's screaming, "Let me out!" and they don't let him out.
Yeah.
I've seen some videos where they legit scream to their faces, "You're gonna die here." Look at that. They tied him on a chair and put a cage over his face. Again, this is no longer an art, right?
Yeah, this is.
It's a little sickening for someone who's weak stomach. I'm gonna quit it there. But wow, it's 5 minutes fucking long. This is no one under 18-year-olds is allowed. I don't think anybody any age should be allowed there. But again, it's one of those things that they took something that I believe was fun, the whole haunted house thing, into something that very much veers into the kink of masochism.
Yeah, and a lot of this goes into more of like extreme BDSM, you know, consensual non-consent and things like that, which we'll talk about in a different episode.
Yeah, that particular thing of they signed away the right to say I want to stop, which I find problematic in any level.
Yeah, there's how about this? These people are not experienced enough with the individuals who are doing things to them to revoke consent.
Yeah. I can't imagine somebody might have had a heart attack, had PTSD, and just disassociates on the spot. What I have seen is that they shoot stuff into their eyes like fake blood, and sometimes if you saw the explosions and shit, some of that might actually hurt them. And they had like a bloody eye, and they thought it was the fake blood, but like they actually damaged the dude's eye. And it was like, you sign your waiver, you can't sue us, and it was like, dude, but you're hurting people. That's again, that takes away the art of scaring people into actually
just
hurting
abuse.
people. Yeah, it's just some abuse. It says open weekends year round. So this whole thing, again, I looked into a whole documentary about the dude, and he kept having to move it because they had him shut it down. Like the neighbors would go, "That you can't have this here. There are people screaming for their fucking lives, terrified." I think they had a person that they followed that at some point managed to escape and ran down the street. Fuck these people, I'm out. And it's like, that's for the record, they don't just give you an address and you show up and go through the entrance. They arrange to pick you up at a park, and you have to show up at a particular time, blindfold yourself, and sit there, and they kidnap you. They come in a van, pick your ass up, throw you in the back of a van, and take you to the haunted house, so you don't know where you are. And they don't let you out till like it's dark, so you don't know where you're being taken. Again, this is so borderline a kink.
It is definitely partly kink. Like
It can't be art.
I've never been involved with, but I've definitely seen some of the stuff in the kink thing where, again, these people
You arrange a kidnapping.
You
I've
arrange
seen
a
that.
kidnapping where like these people have been playing with each other for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Like it's like literally a husband and a wife who are doing this to each
Yeah.
other, and it's like they've been doing it for like 15, 20 years, and then it's like then that's kind of okay, but like these people, it's like, I know this guy for like all of 2 seconds, and he's, you know, tying me up and spitting in my face. Like,
Yeah. That's some weird shit.
like, I mean,
It's one of those things that, like, it's kind of when you see somebody do your art wrong and you start kind of thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, this is just wrong. But again, this is the friggin' Deviant when we talk about this kind of shit. And I'm curious as to where that hits. Because if it's a haunted house, they're doing it wrong. If it's a kink scene, that's not far off.
and that's definitely not far off. And there are people
Yeah.
who like that sort of feeling of being kidnapped and tormented and things like that. And that is out there for some people. I'm not into it, and I don't do that because I don't think it's safe. But that is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's another thing. There's a documentary on Netflix. I believe it's called Hunters. Have you heard of it? We should watch it together one of these days. So one of the things that they describe. So there is a haunted house that is very big on like psychological hurting, where they will insult you, and they will do like murder scenes in front of you, and they're trying to psychologically fuck you up, right? And then they see this, and they go, well, we don't do that. So the people who run this one, they go like, well, we don't do anything sexual. We never touch you anywhere inappropriately, blah, blah, blah. And the other guys, look, so these guys are looking down at those for using curse words, right? And then those guys are looking down, like, yeah, but we don't fucking touch people. We do psychological scaring. We don't we don't physically hurt people. And then these guys are like, yeah, but we don't use cuss words and we don't touch people inappropriately. Like, what the fuck? It's the weirdest shit that they both look down at each other for doing it wrong, when they're both doing very extreme ways of scaring people. It's just, it's fascinating how people always find a way to look down at somebody else as a form of art. But you have any thoughts on the hugging the mic here?
oh no, you're good. No, and what else is to say? I disagree with this as sort of like a haunted attraction. I think this is a little extreme.
Now, it is an entertaining venue, right? Entertainment venue. Is this
I view this more as like a
this,
kink.
yeah, should this be illegal to do? Because they have been shut down because, presumably, because they're probably breaking a few laws doing it.
Definitely. The thing is that I think that with the way that is currently being done, yeah, I think it should be illegal.
Oh, okay.
I think you should have a way out.
Yeah, I believe that's the law they're breaking right
Yeah,
there.
like, the thing is, like,
consensual non-consent is not a legal thing.
Is not a legal thing.
Anywhere,
I think that, you know, you should have something that you can say to get kicked out, and they could humiliate the crap out of you for wussing out.
Yeah, put
Like,
you on the
they
wall.
put
of
you on
shame.
a wall of shame.
Yeah, we
They
have that
can
locally, yeah.
do all sorts of things. They could be right nasty to you, but they gotta let you out, and that's the part that I disagree with. If there was like if they said a particular phrasing,
I do wonder if they have a safe word, like in the kink scene, where as long as they don't say that one word, right? Because they can say, no, I want out, let me the fuck out of here, but they don't say the key word.
the key word, yeah.
So
If
it's
they had
possible-
that,
Yeah.
then I'd be totally fine with that, because there
That would
is
make
a way
sense.
out. There is I need medical attention now, or I need some psychological help now. Things like
Yeah.
I need to go to a hospital, or I need to go to somewhere else. A comfort room.
Yeah.
See, I would have a comfort room on the side of this where you would take a nice long shower, and then you have like a night.
Oh God, aftercare! Imagine one of these with an aftercare.
With aftercare, and then also having like, you know, safe words and things like that. This could be done appropriately.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, there are ways out.
An appeal to people who are actually masochists and not people that are just fans of horror. Mm-hmm. You know, people who think this is a haunted house, thinking it's just entertainment. It's not. This is a serious thing to do. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. And I presume, and again, I've seen some of the interviews where the guy interviews the person to tell them, it's like, it's pretty intense, and you got to know that, you know, you're going to get, you know, treated this way and that way. Where he's trying to warn them, but at the same time, he's trying to convince them this is just a fun thing to do. And I find that like a predatory behavior.
Yeah, there's definitely some.
Where he doesn't necessarily say, hey, this is not just a haunted house.
A thing about negotiation is plain English, right?
Yeah.
Is not. I guess that goes in with doming as well. Like, if your
Oh,
dom
we really
is
stuck to the subject.
yeah, wow.
Coincidentally,
When you have a dom, right, and they're not using plain English, they're saying this will happen or this might happen, but it's going to be fun either way. That isn't plain English. Plain English is, this is what I am doing to you. This is how it's likely going to feel. That is plain English. No fancy words, nothing like that. The nitty gritty, so you know what you're getting into before it happens.
yeah, that's pretty much informed consent. That's always been a. I think that's like the basis of this show. I think that's the biggest lesson we kind of keep coming back to. No matter what kink, deviant behavior we can talk about, almost everything goes right back down to consent. So it's very interesting that even like magic tricks, haunted house, almost everything that we can think of comes down to consent.
Well, it's the basics for human interaction.
Should be a commandment, shouldn't it? Thou shalt always get consent.
I don't know.
It seems that important because, which
Well,
by
like
the
I
way,
said,
the fucking Ten Commandments are silly because they repeat morals. I think George Carlin once broke
Yeah,
it
it
down
was George Carlin.
to like there's only 3 commandments. There's only literally 2 moral codes, which is always be honest and try not to kill, unless they pray to a different invisible guy. and he just kind of added a third one. It's like thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself. But like out of those 2 morals, I would add an extra moral of always get consent. That seems for everything, and I don't. It doesn't necessarily mean sexually, but conversationally, like friendships, you know, any kind of thing you're interacting with another human being. Always know that they want to do what you're doing together.
Yeah, and
Any
like I
behavior.
said, it is definitely a basis for human interaction. You know, humans who are interacting with each other give consent usually, and if they don't, they try and get out. They try and leave.
I remember, I think it was John Oliver that said sex is kind of like boxing. If they don't both consent to do it, one of them is committing a serious crime.
Yeah.
Because it's a boxing fight where the other guy doesn't want to fight. Like,
Oh,
wait,
God.
what are you doing?
It's just a beatdown.
It's a beat down. Just some jackass beating the shit out of another one. Okay, so we're running out of time here, which is amazing because I didn't have anything. We didn't have anything deep to talk about. We somehow
And
ran
we
out of
could
time.
keep going too. So
Yeah,
that's,
we have some shit to talk about. It's fascinating. But so yeah, we're definitely out of time here. So thank you guys for listening. It's been fun. This was an interesting episode without any kind of. We had literally 0 comments on the chats, so it was
Yeah,
all
and if you
us.
liked this, please let us know.
Let us know if this is a better format or if it's more
if it's
fun when
worse,
people
or
are commenting.
More people are commenting.
If this is boring, sorry. Or not sorry. We'll try it again. It's fine. But yeah, so this is the Freaking Deviant. My name is Spider, and we're here to remind you that life is chaos.
And nothing is sacred.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
2, 3, 4, 5.